Welcome, peeps, back to another episode of the Shady Lewdcast. It is me, Shades, once again talking to another voice actress of the lewd gaming and the lewd scene. Today we're talking with Miss Nilla, who has been working on a number of sexy audiobooks, as well as a couple little of Dojin.com and DeviantArt projects, along with a lot of growth and expansion stuff. This isn't my area of expertise, growth and expansion. Do you find that this is your sector that you've kind of got into?
I would say so. It's a really fun niche, and I've really enjoyed all of the people that I've worked with. The community is really interesting and fun. But I'm always very upfront that like I'm not into it. I just like bringing it to life, I guess.
No, and as long as you're having fun, like bringing it to life in a sense, I guess, and you've got a good client base. I can understand how you're enjoying doing a category that probably not that many people actually do.
Yeah.
So first off, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, all things considered.
Oh, that's good. Now to kick it off, I want to ask. This is the standard question I ask every dev, every voice actor, voice actress. What got you into your career that you're doing now? What got you into doing voice acting?
I got my start in acting in general in high school, like I think a lot of people do when they try to do theater work. But I kind of discovered that voice acting was a thing online in like 2014, 2015 or something when I was still in high school. And I was like, oh, I could just do this from my house? That's crazy. And so I just did it. And I started doing just regular safe for work, voice work back then. And I kept doing it. And then about a year ago, I kind of discovered the NSFW scene after seeing some of the stuff that Miss Moonified was in. And I was like, ooh, that looks like fun. I want to do that. So I branched out, and it's been great ever since.
It's honestly, I'd say, because that was kind of the same with me. I was doing a lot of safe for work related video games and videos, and then when I got pulled into the not safe for work game development and like I do lewd video game reviews on YouTube, I've done it for a while now. When I got pulled into that, I was amazed how inviting everybody is and how nice everyone is.
Yeah, this community has been the most welcoming and the most helpful that I've been a part of. It's like it's probably the least competitive that like acting has ever felt.
That's very
and it's
true.
so nice. Yeah. I love that aspect of it a lot, because even in safe for work, people kind of have this like uber professional polite facade that they like to keep up in like all of their Twitter interactions, but here you've got Mooney being like, yes bitch, and just it's much more laid back and open. And I love
You
it.
summed up Mooney in 2 words. Yes, bitch. That's pretty much her in a nutshell.
Yeah.
I only recently got to talk to her because we've worked together for a fair bit, but I didn't get around to doing an interview. And I wasn't expecting such, like, I should have, but like she was such a bubbly personality that it redefined. I was like, this has just solidified the fact that I love working in this sector. Do you find it hard to keep safer work and not safer work separate, or do you just kind of let the flow happen?
In the beginning, I was really adamant that I needed to keep them separate, mainly because I had, like some of my professors and my family and stuff following my other Twitter and my other work that I was doing. But recently, I've just kind of been like, if someone finds out, I can just be like, yeah, you know what? I make pretty decent money from doing this, and if you find that shameful, that's on you. That's no longer my problem. So, I do try to keep them separate just to kind of avoid the annoyance of it, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, as long as nobody's like harassing my safe for work, I don't try super hard to be like, oh no, you can't find out.
Yeah, hopefully the way that it's going with the stigma of everyone, uh, there is that sort of judgment, especially my real life group of friends. They all know what I do, but none of them do what I do, and so it's that
Mhm.
kind of trying to keep it separate. I got to a point where I was just like, you know what, fuck it. If they if they find out who I was like, whatever. It makes great money, and I'm having fun doing it. So
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like, look, I'm gonna keep having fun. I'm gonna
mhm.
keep working with fantastic people, and you can be butthurt about it. That's not my problem. If you're sad, then you're sad. I am happy. So, yeah.
Which do you prefer? Do you prefer safe for work or do you prefer not safe for work?
For the actual work itself, I
Mm.
prefer not safe for work. It's just so much more fun, I guess. And it's just like this wild gray area where there aren't as many kind of like industry expectations from it.
Hmm.
And like with safe for work stuff, there'll be like really specific ways that you're supposed to go about doing like an audition or doing a read or something, and then you get to like not safe for work and they're like, hey, we want this vocal tone, but like make it as sexy as possible, and that makes us happy. And so you're like, okay, I can do that. And then yeah, it's just like it's not like a free for all. There definitely are, some standards, and there's definitely a level of acting ability that you need to have, but it's not nearly as like stringent and crunchy as
Mm.
safe for work.
Not as I guess I don't know if strict's the right word, but I get what you mean.
Yeah.
It's a little bit
Yeah.
more laid back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm. What would you say has been your funnest role so far? And I know that is a big thing to
Yeah.
ask.
I think so far the funnest role was actually a a private commission where somebody wanted me to be the uh like Japanese gangster version of Sailor Moon and the Sailor Scouts, and it was wild.
What?
Yeah.
Hang on a minute. I that was my brain shut down because of the
I
amount
know.
of stuff that I had to process on what you just said. Like,
Oh my god, reading that script I was like, "Wait, what? I don't I don't know what this means." And then as I was doing it, I was just like, "Oh," and I like got in the groove of it and I was like, "Oh, this is really fun."
wow. Okay, that is actually, to be honest with you, that's the most bizarre one I've heard so far. That's amazing.
It was really fun. It was so strange. I was like, just to let you know, I don't know if I can pull this off, but I eventually did. And they said they really liked it. So,
I'll make sure in any future work that you and I may or may not get into that it may have to be some form of Sailor Scout mixed with some sort of Yakuza.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
What is your warm up routine when you're getting into doing the voice acting? You're starting up in the morning and you're thinking, shit, I've got to be on. What is the routine that you get into?
I drink like a bottle of water just to make sure that I'm hydrated. And then I usually just kind of go through like some different voices and like get into those different voices so that I warm up like a full range
Mm-hmm.
of characters, I guess, and different tones and stuff. And then I always start off with like my really high pitched ones just so that like that is out of the way for my throat.
Okay.
It's kind of like just stretching it out and being like, okay, now it's set for anything. It's fine. It can handle it. But um yeah, and then I always make sure that I'm doing like proper breathing and uh good posture. And then once I've got all that set and I kind of look like a crazy person sitting in front of the mic with like a really specific pose, then I'm set and I start.
Inspirations, and I don't just mean inspirations in general. I'm talking about the people that you look at those people and you're thinking, I really, really, I look at that person and I'm thinking, this is the place I want to be at. Was there anyone in particular that has given you a lot of help, or?
Oh goodness, there's so many of those too. When I first started in NSFW work, I think the very first person that I talked to was Jem/Jordan Rudolph,
Mm-hmm.
and she just guided me initially. She was like, "This is," she was telling me people to talk to. Um, she was kind of just guiding with like rates and telling me, not to do free work unless it was, like fan work and stuff like that. And even then to be cautious and just giving me all these like really good pointers that started me off, I think, at a better level than somebody that just, starts and has no one. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
really thankful for her. Um, I reached out to Miss Moonified as well, just to kind of get to know her um and just, talk and stuff. And she was really cool about, if she noticed something that I should probably change, she would message me and be like, "Hey, just so you know, um, look out for this. I saw that you were gonna work with this person. They're kind of shady," that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I also was in just the Clippy Amanda Clifford, her Discord server
Mm-hmm.
in the NSFW section and stuff, and she was really really helpful as well because I mean, goodness, she is the most supportive person
She
I
is,
think on
yeah.
this planet. Oh my goodness, she's like, if she sees you're having a hard time, she's like, "Not today,
No,
not if I can help it."
that sounds like her for sure.
hmm and then just along the way, like anybody that I talked to, like Pixie Willow was
Mm-hmm.
really fantastic when I was struggling with like keeping all my work organized and meeting deadlines. And she was like, "Hey, I know somebody who has a calendar template that you can use, and then you can keep everything all organized and make a booking calendar." And so I did that, and it was super helpful. And now I'm on top of things. Oh my goodness, I get overwhelmed when I think about all the VAs that I've worked with and that I've talked to, and like how nice and inviting and helpful they were. I'm just like, oh, it just makes you feel like you can make it and that you can do it
It
just
definitely
like they
does
are.
in this sector for sure. Like you definitely feel that
hmm
you've got a place here.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
And of course, I love telling this story. My very first client was I'm just that kinky with dojins.com.
Yep.
And uh initially when I did the first um set of lines and stuff for him, he was like, these aren't believable. I'm still obviously going to pay you for your work, but you need to work on it." And I was like, "Okay, what do I need to work on?" And he
Mm-hmm.
was like, "What?" And I was like, "What can I do better? I really want to do this." And he was like, "Are you serious? Most people, if you tell them they're not good at NSFW, they just move on and
Mm-hmm.
they don't care." And I was like, "No, no, no. I want to make it. I love doing this kind of work already." And so he was like, "All right, well, here's another set. And then, these are the points that you need to work on. You need to be more believable. Go watch some porn or something," and
Mm-hmm.
kind of base it on that. And then I sent him the lines and he was like, "This is much better. This is really good. Okay." And
Mm-hmm.
then that was the first like
Wow.
resume piece of work that I had. And I'm very thankful for him too for doing that and kind of giving me that first chance and not just being like, "Nope, you suck. I'm not dealing with this. I'm not
No,
working with
no,
you."
he's been really good to a lot of
Oh, he's amazing.
voice actors and actresses for sure. What do you do when you're not voice acting? When you're switching the mic off and you're thinking, I'm done with this shit. I can't do this shit. I want to either get outside or I want to play some games. What do you do?
um, I I live by kind of close to the dunes in in Indiana by Lake Michigan.
Mhm.
So I go hiking there with my boyfriend a
Mhm.
lot. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous out there. And then I need to catch up, but I watch a lot of anime. I mainly
Mhm.
watch like really cute stuff to kind of decompress, like Achi Kochi, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, and I do a lot of reading and research for the advocacy work that I do. With I advocate for change in the death industry because it's very broken right now and it needs a lot of help.
Oh,
Um,
is that part of like what you're doing as an outside career or?
yeah, I have a bachelor of arts in communication,
Mm.
which is both useful and the most useless thing I could have gotten. Um, and I kind of made this decision probably about 5 6 months ago where I was like, okay, I've discovered my path, and so I'm going back to school as soon as I can to complete a mortuary science program and getting my funeral services degree so that I can become a mortician and hopefully one day own my own funeral home where I can practice the good ways of the funeral industry.
Are you finding that I know this is so off topic, but are you finding that
Mm.
in your area or in particular that funeral homes or like funeral directing isn't to the standard that it should be?
In America, it's kind of this. It's kind of the same with a lot of what you picture with, how people view corporate America, where
Mm-hmm.
it's about top dollar and it's not about people.
Mm-hmm.
And the funeral industry, unfortunately, is no different. And
Oh, okay.
there are a lot of very shady practices within funeral homes of like upcharging these poor grieving families for caskets and telling them, if you really love this person, then you're going to pay this amount because it means you love them more even when they can't afford it.
Okay.
And it's horrendous. And they also push practices like embalming, which are gross
Mm.
and not environmentally friendly and just not good for the body or the family. It's just all bad, but they've all created this mythos that it's necessary for proper, grieving and loving your deceased person properly.
Of
And so I
course.
really want to do my best to change that mythos and be like, no, there are all these other options. However you feel like grieving is how you should grieve, and I'm advocating for that. And it's for anything, if you really want the body embalmed and to be with it in that manner, then I'm all for that. I'm
Mm-hmm.
definitely not for like, no, you can't do that now. But I just want everybody to have their option, I suppose.
That is actually such uh, a beautiful career path that you've picked in terms of the passion that you've got for that. That's actually, I'm, yeah, I'm actually quite touched listening to how moved you are with wanting to, especially to start your own, like to become a mortician and to do that. I think to invoke change like that that's awesome.
Thank you. It was a scary decision to come to because it's like one of those things where you go to your family and you're like, "Hi, I want to work with dead people," and they're like, "No, no, you got your comm degree. You're supposed to go like work for a multi-million-dollar business." I'm like, "No."
What is a role that you would absolutely kill someone for? What is a role that you want?
Oh my goodness, I would love to be like a really compelling villain in something, just in anything, game,
Okay.
animation, anything. If it was just this person who's like unapologetically evil but also a villain where you can kind of root for them in a weird way where you're like, huh, I kind of get where they're coming from, but they're really bad. That's what I want to
Mm-hmm.
do.
I'll make a note of
And
that. I'll
obviously,
make a note of that with my future project. Um,
and of course, if they're like super sexy in
Well, that's a plus.
in their path, then yeah, that's absolutely a bonus. I will take it.
What is some advice that you would give to someone who was to get into not safe for work voice acting?
I would say do your research. Definitely know what you're getting into, and make sure that you understand that it is acting at the end of the day. It's something where, you know, if you've been voice acting at all, you've honed your acting ability, and that's something you need to do even with NSFW work. It's not technically sex work. So it's, you know, it's not, you know, actually having sex with somebody and recording it. So that's definitely something to be aware of. And also just get to know I consider other VAs my coworkers. I definitely don't consider them, you know, my competition or anything. So get to know your coworkers, make those relationships and those connections, and like just genuinely kind of revel in how open and wonderful this community is, because it'll help you grow a lot.
That is very true. So we are now at a very specific part of the podcast where I do a little game. I do this game with the developers. I tell them that they have to come up with a game depending on the words that I give them. With the voice actors and actresses, what I tell them is I go to a random sentence generator. And I've picked a sentence, okay? And then what's going to happen is I'm going to send you the sentence, and then I'm going to tell you what kind of voice I want you to say it in.
Okay.
Okay. The sentence reads, "Utter nonsense is always a pleasure." It's actually quite a normal sentence. Most of the other ones, they get some wacky ones. So you're quite lucky. I want you to say it as an announcer.
Utter nonsense is always a pleasure.
I love it.
I tried. I don't have a good announcer voice. That is not in my repertoire.
Okay. Sultry.
Utter nonsense is always a pleasure.
Shy.
Utter nonsense is always a pleasure.
All right. Straight to left field, Australian.
Oh, no. Oh, God. Oh, no.
Yep.
Oh, I feel like I'm going to be so offensive.
Nah, you won't be. Trust me. I'm not even what you would consider to be Australian. Like, I am the least Australian that you have met. So whatever you're going to do, if you're going to be like, "Hey, g'day, mate," like, it really it will not offend me.
Utter nonsense is always a pleasure. I don't know. It turned British. I don't know.
No, it was good. It was good. Okay, how about evil?
Utter nonsense is always a pleasure.
What about...
That's weird.
Well, that's probably what somebody that would be evil would say.
Yeah, it's hard to make that sound evil.
Himderi, which is a stuck-up princess.
Utter nonsense is always a pleasure.
A very goofy voice.
Oh, God. I just immediately thought of Goofy.
I know. You'd be surprised how many voice actresses just do the goofy voice.
Oh, I can't do the goofy voice.
You'd be surprised. I'm pretty sure...
Oh, goodness.
Don't quote me on it. I'm pretty sure Miss Moonified just did a goofy voice.
Oh, my God. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Utter nonsense is always a pleasure. I just thought of that slug lady from Monsters, Inc.
Yeah, okay. Oh, you mean the one where it's like, Wazowski.
Yeah.
Always late, Wazowski.
Yes, exactly.
Always watching.
Yep.
I love it. Well, that actually feeds right into my final one, actually. Because the final one's a monster, but I think you technically did it, so I think that counts.
Oh, geez. I don't even know if I can do monster noises.
You could just do this. You could be like, "Utter nonsense is always a pleasure, Wazowski."
Utter nonsense is always a pleasure.
I love it.
Yes.
Thank you so much for playing that game.
Of course.
So we're actually towards the end of our little interview, but I wanted to give you the floor to tell everyone where to find you and what you're working on next.
So you can find me on Twitter mainly at Nilla_Miss. I put pretty much everything there. That's where my NSFW self lives. You can find a lot of my audiobooks and some original audio work on Gumroad at gumroad.com/Miss Nilla. And you can find a lot of sound samples and stuff at my SoundCloud, which is soundcloud.com/Miss Nilla. I also have a Ko-fi for anybody that feels like doing anything with that, following me on there, which is ko-fi.com/Miss Nilla. And I'll be working on actually a Safe for Work audiobook from an NSFW client pretty soon. And when that's done, it'll be up on my Gumroad.
Nice.
But I'll make sure to put, a preview and stuff up on Twitter for it. I'm excited for that because I haven't done a Safe for Work audiobook in ages.
I'm excited to hear it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day to have a chat with me.
Of course. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you. And to any of the peeps at home, the links will be in the description. And until next time, I honestly don't know. I really should have said it the other way around, peeps. This is why I need more sleep. I will catch you guys later.